Vaccines and vaccine requirements has been and still is a controversial issue today. There are many reasons why parents, or non-parents too, are against vaccines, along with many parents being for vaccines. Also, this doesn't just pertain to parents. This can also pertain, like I said, to non-parents as well. Now, for those against vaccines, there are evidence to support your decision. So, the first piece of evidence would be that when the CDC originally released an article in 2004 about how MMR does not lead to autism, there was actually another article in 2014 that went against that article. And it was written by a man with the last name Thompson, this man right here. And he originally wrote that 2014 article, he helped write, but he also wrote another one that contradicted that and said that actually in 2004 we left out critical pieces of evidence that state, that conclude that MMR actually does increase the chance of a child getting autism, developing autism. Now, when he wrote this in 2014, and his results indicated that African Americans are actually more likely to develop autism when getting the MMR at a younger age than 2. So, with this piece of information, of course, there's going to be many parents who feel the need that they need to decline vaccines in terms of their child. Because who wants their child to develop autism? No one. Therefore, they want to prevent any possible harm to their child, like anyone would. Now, second reason and third for this would be constitutional rights of a parent or non-parent. So they can believe, hey, this goes against our First Amendment, my right to speech. So if you're requiring one to get vaccinated, then you're going against a parent's right to say what's right and wrong for their child. Now, since we're talking about the Constitution, we should also bring up the right to religion, the freedom of religion, I mean. Now, if we're requiring vaccinations, then this can obviously go against one's religion. Therefore, this is another reason why parents can be against vaccines or vaccine requirements. Clearly, this goes against my right as a parent to decide what's best for my child, along with going against my religion. Therefore, this can't be right. Now, lastly, some parents believe that getting vaccinated or vaccine requirements leads to decreased health of a child. Now, there's actually evidence that supports that. In 2017, there was a study done by Parasides, and he basically observed the amount of times that children went to see their pediatrician versus when compared to a vaccinated child or a non-vaccinated child. Now, the results were quite interesting. Now, the results suggested that those who were vaccinated saw their doctors many, many more times than those who weren't vaccinated. So clearly, when you're looking at these results, yes, those who are vaccinated, it's clear from these conclusions that it does have an effect on a child's overall health. So with these in mind, it's clear why some parents might be against vaccinations or vaccination requirements. Now, aside from those who believe in this, who actually don't believe in this, you have to consider why others would argue that vaccinations and vaccination requirements are actually important for every single child. Now, first off, that courts ruled that it's actually child neglect to not get vaccinated. There's a study also in 2017, and they actually looked at several cases. They looked at 9 of parents who didn't vaccinate their child. In 5 out of 9 of those cases, the court ruled that not vaccinating their child was considered neglect. So clearly, when parents believe this, there's evidence to back that up. Now, when considering another piece of evidence, it's important to know that if you don't vaccinate a child, you can potentially harm another child who plans on getting vaccinated with a disease. Now, there was actually a measles outbreak in Minnesota. Now, for those of you who don't know what measles is, let me show you. Okay, so measles, right here, looks pretty bad. Now, there was a measles outbreak, and this was caused by a foreign student spreading the measles to 3 children. Now, this could have been prevented if that student were vaccinated for the measles. But unfortunately he wasn't, which caused this outbreak of measles. And if you can see here, this clearly does not look good. So that's why it's very important. Now, another reason for this would be the success rate for vaccines. The overall success rate. This overall success rate has increased dramatically over the years. So the success rate should be a huge contributor to why parents should be for vaccines, because they create this, they create this immunity for kids in order for them not to get things such as measles that look awful. Now, when considering both of these sides, clearly it is understandable why it is important to get vaccinated. Not only are you potentially spreading other diseases to children who plan on getting vaccinated, but you're also harming your child potentially, because you're putting them up to face these harsh disorders. Not disorders, but diseases. So it's very clear why it's important to get vaccinated. Now, in terms of the freedom of religion and speech, yes, those are very strong arguments for this, but it's very hard to believe that because vaccines help a child, that a religion goes against that. What religion wants a child to suffer? Am I right? Now, along with freedom of speech, I believe that is actually a very valid argument. But I don't think that one argument outweighs all the other arguments for why you should vaccinate a child. Because not only are you affecting one child, but you're affecting many in terms of going to school, in terms of going to the grocery store. It's so easy for one child to transmit a disease to another. Therefore, it's very, very, very important to get vaccinated. Now, if you guys have any questions, please comment below. But in terms of vaccination and vaccination requirement, I hope you guys agree that, yes, it is very important to get vaccinated. And in terms of the arguments to not get vaccinated, clearly those reasons do not trump the reasons for why a child should be vaccinated.